Hi, this is Eddie Hearn and you're watching Lights Out.
This is Lights Out. I'm Faisal Khan, delighted to be joined by Mr. Steve Goodwin. Steve, how you doing?
No, I'm good, very good. Very busy, but it's all exciting times ahead.
How's America?
Fantastic. When I saw obviously boxing over there as well, with Richard Commey winning the world title, so I've got a feel for how it is over there.
Yeah.
And we're bringing some ideas from America back to here, and we're quite motivated and ready for a really successful year.
And hopefully maybe get a few of your fighters out in America at some point.
Very possibly. That's definitely a definite possibility, but there's loads of exciting things happening. In the big thing I'm working on at the moment, which is relevant to you, I guess, is we are definitely going to do a show here June time.
Kenilworth.
No, it won't be Kenilworth because it's not big enough. Because Linus and Kay are not big enough yet.
Right.
Because to Kenilworth, we don't want to do a show at Kenilworth until it can sell 5,000-6,000. It won't sell 5,000-6,000 yet. But we've got two potential options with venues, which will be 1,000 to 1,500 capacity, where we will do a show here, and then that will look towards leading towards the bigger venues.
I just was, obviously there's 3 shows in the next 3 weeks. Let's talk a bit about Wadi Camacho. You've got him out on the March 23rd Copper Box against Lawrence Okoli for the British outright.
Yeah.
How happy are you that Wadi's been given that opportunity, and what chances are you giving Wadi?
Well, he's earned the opportunity, and we've navigated him into that. So he's earned that by the turnaround in his career and all the hard work he's done. We've got to be realistic. He's big underdog in the fight. But I do believe that Wadi he's actually the best he's ever been by a country mile. So you're going to see the best Wadi Camacho. Lawrence Okoli is a classy operator. You don't get to the Olympics if you're not a classy boxer, but he has had some problems in his technique and style. Wadi is what you got to say is a live outsider. He's an outsider, but going in there with belief. Whereas I'm not sure that most people that fight Lawrence Okoli end up with much belief. They just get mauled out of it. And one thing's for sure, if Lawrence does his jab and grab, that really is going to have some unfortunate consequences for him. So I wouldn't, so he may well try and win the fight, but if he tries to do it by jab and grab, it probably won't be. He'll probably get some payback for that this time.
Again, last year, towards the end of last year, we fought Arthur Iqbal, and I remember speaking to you after that fight. You said it was the performance of his life.
It was.
Do you think going into the fight with Okoli as the underdog sort of suits Wadi Camacho?
Yeah, because if you notice, he's not trying to give it the macho man stuff. He's very humble nowadays, and he just knows what he's more about substance now than he's more about style than more about substance than style now. So all that macho man, all the macho man girls has gone. So it's all about what's real in the ring now. Whereas before, Wadi was more about the macho man and the image. That's all gone, and now it's about the fighting and the game planning. He's got an excellent trainer in Terry Coulter, who sets a really good game plan, and he'll go there with a live chance. If I sat on here and said Wadi's going to beat Okoli, knock him out in 4 rounds, it'd be ridiculous for me to say that. But he's going to go in there with a chance, and he's very, very, very focused and determined.
Talk to us about the 3 shows you got coming up. Starting with 4 shows. We'll start off with this Saturday. Just give obviously the viewers a sort of idea who's on the show, who's on the card, and a couple of few Southern area title fights as well.
Yeah, the 2nd of March we've got Miles Shinkwin defending his English title against Kurt Gari, which is an absolute
very good fight.
Anybody that knows anything about boxing knows it's a cracking fight. Miles has. We took him back, similar to Wadi Camacho. I've took him back from sort of the dead of boxing, and now he's English champion, and he's rejuvenated again because winning that title has made him much more confident, and his work in the gym is better than ever. So that's a great fight. The 9th of March.
You've obviously got the undefeated Mark Little as well.
We got a list of 15 fights on the card. Mark Little and Paul Greenidge and everybody like that. So they're all in good fights, and all in Dean Richardson. They're all in great learning fights.
Mo Garib as well in the rematch.
Now that's a great fight because Mo, give him credit on that fight. Mo turned around and said, "I want a rematch now." It's a brave move because rematches don't normally go very well.
Against Dean Evans. Dean Evans, yeah.
And then we did try to do the match over 4 rounds, and Dean Evans said, "I'll only fight him over 6." So he's going to be coming to win. So it's a great card. It's the one title fight is obviously Miles Shinkwin, but you've got all cards have got a really, really good undercard of exciting prospects on it.
How happy are you with the process of Goodwin boxing? You're managing to fill out your call every time now. You've got a good set of fighters coming from Luton as well. K Prosper, of course, Linus Adofia. is the overall term to sort of like move maybe from York Hall to perhaps maybe the O2 or the Copper Box? Is that what you've got?
One day, yeah, but you need a TV contract for that. You've got to be real. In life, you have to understand where you are, and too many people have ideas above their station. Now, we may well get there, but we have to get there from a process of getting a television deal and that type of fight. So they're going to sell out like these arenas. Like the Copper Box, for example, holds 8,000 people. Matchroom are doing that show with Lawrence and Waddy on there. That will probably only sell 4,000 to 5,000.
Yeah, you got Charlie Edwards on that show, Josh Boazzi as well.
But it won't sell. But it won't sell out. So with that type of a really good card, you're only half selling. So we're not going to go there and say we're going to sell it. But that's something down the line. But I'm more interested in developing shows for fighters in their home areas and build up these bigger venues in fighters' areas. If you can get 1,000 people behind a fighter, which is not unrealistic, especially in this area, you can build that to thousands, and anything's possible.
And of course, from Luton, you've got Kay Prosper taking on Samo Mason, and you've got Linus Dofi against Dan Cordona. Talk to us about them two fights.
Well, they're great fights. We'll take Linus's first. I mean, obviously, Linus has had the disappointment of the Taylor Jones debacle. But we've managed to get somebody in to fulfil that role as the final eliminator for the English. In that fight, I believe Linus is favourite to win that. I think he's got everything in his favour. I think Cordona is a really tough man, and it's not going to be totally one-sided. But I do expect Linus to prevail, late stoppage or on points in that fight. Kay
seen the face-off last week. Kay Prosper, Samo Mason.
Look, Kay's the underdog. There's no point in me saying that he's favourite to win that. He's not favourite to win that, but I've delivered him an opportunity, and he's got every chance in the world. He's focused, committed, and he's determined to try and bring the English title back to Luton. But that's a tough fight for him. I think he can win it, but he won't be favourite to win it.
Last night's action at the O2, De Gale Eubank, what was your take on it?
Wanted to go to sleep. It's terrible, wasn't it? I mean, I think the problem with boxing, and it happens, and I suppose I've been in it so long, it's littered with boxers going for that last payday. Hay against Bellew, when obviously things weren't right. James really was just not the same fighter he was. So I think it's really sad to see, but you've had it in the past. Chris Eubank did it, Nigel Benn did it. They just went that step too far. And yesterday was a sad thing in that I said, I think when I did a thing preview last week, I said if De Gale's 80% of what he should be, he'd win. But I had things I'd heard made me feel he wasn't going to be 80%, and that's right. But it's one fight too far, and it was sad to see James De Gale like that, I think.
And want to get your thoughts on Tyson Fury's deal with ESPN. What did you make of it? It's come as a bit of a surprise to boxing fans.
It's hard to know because nobody knows. It's really hard. What I have learned from dealing with fights at world title level is when you're outside and when you're outside of these deals, you don't actually realise what goes into these deals. I mean, you may say when Eddie Hearn was discussing purse splits of Joshua, for example, he wasn't lying, but he wasn't giving the full truth. That it was hinging on these rematch clauses that they were putting in. So when he was saying he won't take 60-40, he won't take 70-30, it wasn't the percentages that people were getting heaved off about. It was actually the rematch clause and not getting the lion's share on a rematch. So you often don't know what's going on. Tyson Fury signed a deal with BT. We don't know what they're offering in America, what the deal is, what Frank Warren's involvement is with it. So it's really hard to say what do I think of it because I don't really know the intricacies of what deal he signed up to.
Do you not think that makes the fights with the rematch with Deontay Wilder, perhaps a fight with Anthony Joshua, do you not think it makes it a lot more harder now, or do you think it makes it more easier now that there's potentially more money on it?
It makes it much harder, but you can see why they're doing it because I can sort of understand why they're trying to get the biggest weight of money behind them, because with the deals that they're being offered to fight Joshua, they're being offered things that on paper don't look particularly generous. And if you haven't got the weight of big money behind you, you're sort of like Dylan White, for example, is being offered what he considers to be unsatisfactory. Well, he's got nothing to bargain with because he hasn't got anybody to fight his corner, I guess. And the same with Tyson Fury. I mean, it depends on what money BT have got to put behind him. If they haven't got enough money to support him to go and buy the Joshua fight, then maybe by having the Americans behind him and BT behind him, they can, if they get him into a mandatory position, go to purse bids and win that purse bid. And that's the only way you're going to dislodge the Joshua bandwagon from rolling on the way they want it to.
So, you know, obviously we've got Joshua taking on Jarrell Miller making his US debut. Your thoughts on that fight, and were you all somewhat disappointed that we didn't see the fights with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury and even Dillian White?
Well, I didn't think we'd see the fight with Deontay Wilder. I didn't think we'd see the fight with Tyson Fury, and the Dillian White fight wasn't going to happen with the money, with the contractual obligations that were given to Dillian White. So, was I disappointed? You are as a boxing fan, but what you don't know again is who really wanted those fights. And I don't want to go into the politics of what I believe happened, but I don't believe every party really wanted those fights, and I think a lot of stuff is spun out for us boxing fans and people to watch it and believe certain things are happening when in fact they're not.
Okay, fair enough. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, just your call's going to be amazing. 3 Southern Area title fights on the 9th. The Linus and Kay fights on the 16th bill is the best bill we've done for many a long time. 23rd we've got a show as well. I've got Waddy on the Saturday at the Cop Box. I'm in Madrid on the Friday. I've got somebody for a European title on the Friday. So March is a manic time for boxing, but all come along.
Coming Mr. Worldwide now, aren't you? In America,
something
1
like
minute, Madrid, the next
Spain,
minute it could be Tokyo, next who knows?
Who knows? But wherever it makes sense for our fighters to go, we'll go. That's the whole point.
100%. Just before we go, Frank Buglioni, I think it's towards the end of the year, announced his retirement.
Yes. He's been a credit to the sport of boxing. If anybody, he's won the British title. He defended it a couple of times, and he's been a credit to the sport. But it was the right time for him to retire. He hadn't gone over the top, but his skin had started cutting. And if he had carried on, he would have been beaten on cuts by people that he would otherwise have beaten. So he knew when the right time was to go out. And if anybody can set an example to how boxers should conduct themselves, conduct their career, behave with people, and to retire, Frank Buglioni is the blueprint for every boxer out there.
Definitely. Well said, Steve. All right, well, listen, Steve, we look forward to seeing you next Saturday night.
Excellent.
Look forward to catching up with you over the next few shows. And yeah, Steve Goodwin, thank you very much for talking to Lights Out.
Cheers. Thanks for introducing me.